concept of high school can seem like this big scary monster or a big mountain to climb or something that you must overcome. But let's shift your perspective a little bit, because high school could be some of the best years that you have with your kiddo. So I urge you to shift your mindset a little bit and think of the planning process as something beautiful that is not a closing chapter, but a new one. So today in my lesson lab, episode 2, we are going to map 4 years of high school. Stick around.
Foggy mornings are where I begin. Conversations I can never win, but it's not a competition. Though if it was, I'm losing.
Hey friends, welcome back. If you're brand new to my channel, my name is Arlene with Arlene and Company. And as I said before, let's plan and map out 4 years of high school. Now, this is not going to be detailed plans of what course, exactly what material we're going to use for each and every individual class, but we're going to look at high school as a whole. If you missed my big picture planning for high school that I shared last year, I'm going to leave the link in the description box below, because then I go over all the nitty-gritties. It's a lengthy video, but I felt like it was important to have all those different elements of how I think of the mapping process or the big picture planning all in one place, whether it's you're worried about transcripts, whether you're worried about certain requirements, whatever it may be, whether you are trying to infuse dual enrollment but you're not, or whatever it is, take a look at that video. I feel like it's almost a prerequisite to this video, so it will make much more sense. But as I explained in that last video, I look at high school as 4 years as a whole. It's very different than the elementary years or even middle school, where you are planning for that individual grade. But actually, even in middle school, you start looking at things as a whole as well. It's just like a little bit lesser. Lesser is that's not, no, scratch that. But you really need to look at it as one big pie. And the reason why high school looks a little bit different. Now, if you have a completely different system, that's something that has worked for you, rocked out or whatever, more power to you. I'm happy for you. This is just how I do things, okay? All right. So for 4 years of high school, when you're looking at it, there is certain requirements that you may or may not have, depending on where you live. There's certain requirements that need to be met for a graduation, or if you have a college-bound child. Now, for us in particular, even though I am fully supportive of them choosing whatever path they're led to, I am going to prepare both of my kiddos for college. I want that to be an option for them, and not 11th and 12th grade, oh wait, I really want to go to college, but we didn't take that college prep route. So I do believe that there's a balance of, hitting those academics and those college prep courses with also infusing their individuality, their goals, and joy in the process. Because I really do feel like these 4 years should be some of the best 4 years of your life. And I want to make sure that even when you're hitting heavy academics, that it's actually something that is looked forward to. Maybe not every single course, that's unrealistic, but that you actually enjoy the process, not only your child, but you as well with them. So we look at 4 years as a whole because there is, for example, we are here in Florida. We do not, as homeschoolers, has a set requirement to issue a high school diploma. However, there is certain courses that our local universities or state colleges and stuff have that they want to have their incoming freshman students have. So when I look at that, that is the first thing I want to do. First, I'm going to look at the requirements for Florida for high school students to graduate. That doesn't mean that I am going to strictly do that. All right, so I am going to be sharing my updated teacher binder, and this is my teacher resource binder. I'm going to be sharing this with you guys, I think next week if I'm looking at that, but you're going to get a sneak preview of a couple of things that is in here. And the reason I really needed to update them is because it was all kind of middle school, and I had high school stuff separately, and I just needed it all in the same pot. I needed one big here you go, help me, and have everything together. So one of the things that I have and that I mentioned, and I'm gonna be flipping the camera the other way as we start jotting things down. But first, this is something that I showed you guys in that other video. But for example, and you can pull this up for Ever State or wherever you may be. For example, students in a traditional track for high school here need 24 credits, and those 24 credits are going to be divided into 4 credits in ELA, 4 credits in mathematics, 3 credits in science, including 2 with the labs, and 3 credits in social studies, 1 credit in fine arts and performing arts, 1 credit for physical education, 8 electives, and also an online course. So all these things, obviously I don't need to follow this to a T. Like I said, these are not requirements for us as homeschooler. We do have some oversight, a bit of oversight here in Florida, but when it comes to high school requirements, we don't have it. But I know that if we tick off this box, even though it would be in our own way with our Waldorf Inspire high school years, with, how we do it, spicy Waldorf, we know this, that I can satisfy all this. So once they go into, if college becomes their path, which at this point, that's what we're planning for, then they already prep and they have those required classes that these colleges and universities are looking for. So for us, this is important. Now, if you are in a completely different pathway, you may be mapping these 4 years of college with some other intentions in mind and some other goals. So I'm just gonna explain how we're doing this for a college prep course. So the first thing I did was also, like I said, was print my state requirements for high school graduation so I can see how they divide the years. Then the next thing I did is, because Oak Meadow is one of our core curricula, they do have a wonderful academic planning worksheet. Now you can download this even if you're not taking any Oak Meadow classes right now, just to help you map and give you an ideas. Now they have here listed all the courses that they list, the courses that they have available on here. So this serves as a great reference too of like ideas if you have like no clue how to step out of the box, just like, outside of, okay, we're taking Algebra 1, we're taking Spanish, we're taking, and it becomes pretty dull, right? So if you need like inspiration and stuff, you can see some of the courses that Oak Meadow has. At the time that this airs, just so to let you know, I'm not an affiliate or anything like that. I'm just a fan. This is the first core curricula that we use from the very, very beginning, all the way from first grade. And we are continuing on. They're our core. This doesn't mean that this is the only thing we use. It's not because it needs anything else, is because we like a lot of things. Yeah, anyways, but you can use this as a reference sheet to help you plan out. Then as part of this worksheet printout, and it's just like, and I'll leave the link in the description box below, like I did for the big picture planning. You have right here, now for enrolled students into Oak Meadow, because they're also a distant learning school, and just a learning and accredited school, you will see that they are required to do 22 credits. So I'm not gonna go by that. I'm gonna go by the 24 and then probably surpass that. So here you can see the outline of core courses, credits, and for each year, and then you total it up so that you can map it. I'll tell you right now, this is exactly what I use to map out the 4 years, but I'm gonna take you from the process from the very beginning and how I input my daughter as part of the equation. Now, I do want to keep that Waldorf inspiration nice and cemented in, and that's like basically been our foundation, even though we're very loose. I looked at some very big Waldorf and popular Waldorf high schools, or ones that offer high school, and then I printed out what their flow is for each year, what their inspiration and how it ties in and stuff like that. This does not mean I am following this to a T at all, but I did print from Waldorf schools, like this one is for Emerson, and this is by subject and stuff, because I wanted also to map out our years in a way that was true to that, because again, I'm raising an artist. She thrives with, the arts, the lively arts being infused into every subject. So I want to keep that alive. Whether you consider that a dose of magic, I want to keep that alive, right? So I have a few examples in my teacher resource binder of that Waldorf schedule. So for example, this particular one has divided from humanities, mathematics, science, language. In order to map out our 4 years, this is a part where I reel in my daughter. And we're gonna read some course subscriptions ourselves after I have like narrowed it down, because if she has too much that she's looking at, she's gonna have sensory overload. Here is, again, I have another one of curriculum highlights. Again, these are all the things that I use in the research phase. This is everything I use in the research phase. You're not doing virtual, Florida virtual, but I know some people do. But I also found that their layout of their basically kind of like a checklist and recommendation is pretty solid too. This does not mean I'm following this to a T, but you can see that they break out the traditional 24 credit high school track, regular track, honors track, and rigorous academic track. So now some of this, because my daughter is gifted in certain areas, I want to make sure that I look at this for inspiration of how I can justify an honors course. And I feel like, you know, these are really good tools. Don't be afraid to pull it from your local high school and things like that, just to get through the research. There is another tool. I'm just showing you all the things that you can gather to help you in your planning and research process. This is something I didn't personally need, but I thought it was pretty neat, because I started the planning process back 6th grade probably, of really looking at everything. I think the right on the money would be like starting planning on 7th grade if you can. I know some people are like, oh, I'm already gonna have a 9th grade already in it, and they're playing catch up. It's fine, it's fine. But if you're still in the earlier stage, planning, start mapping out for your 4 years of high school, like in 7th grade. That will allow you so much time to really digest everything, to take your time researching. You see how everything that I gather to research how I want to her years to look, and also how I'm going to present to my child. Okay, how does this look to you? Is this, you know, because I can't leave too many decisions to her. Again, this is a neurodiverse home, so it will just overwhelm her. So I need to like narrow it down and bring it down to like bite-sized pieces that she can collaborate with. Simplify4u.com, and I'll leave the link of this below. She has where they have a really nice chart of like 8th grade, which you should be trying to check off. Again, and these are all suggestions, you do you. 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th, and 12th. And then she has a graduation checklist. Again, take these type of charts with a grain of salt too. Like, this is a really cool resource. Again, it's not something, because I already had other stuff, but I wanted to print it and show you guys, and maybe at some point I'll like use it to like map something else out. But take these with a grain of salt too, because this is a general term. Don't get fixed on these type of requirements, because they may be different for you. Your requirements may be above that, or your requirements can be more fluid, or depending on where your child may be at. They have one per grade. So right here, for example, 9th grade overview chart. And it has the title, text, and providers. So I really like this sheet though. Like the other ones I didn't really need, because I already have all my state stuff. But this is pretty rad, because this is a nice way to keep, you know, a paper documentation and description of what you actually use. She also have this course overview. Now, we talked about this in big picture planning, the course overview. How would I put this? And I used to work in admission years ago, I don't know. But anyways, course overview, they may ask for this, they may not. Some more selective schools, or schools that are not as homeschool friendly, may want to see this. So one great thing, and mine's gonna be digital, but I just wanted to show you this, because you can use this as your template of idea of what to include if you're going to just go ahead and type it up. And I suggest just typing it up, because then you could easily send that if it's requested of you. We looked at our state regulations, our country's regulations. We looked to see if there are certain requirements of credits, or what kind of classes that we have to do. And let's say we don't have any. Look up some of our local universities and colleges. look up 3 or 4, see what they're looking for from an incoming freshman, what courses they like to see. And then you will see that some of them will actually specify specific courses that they want to see. Like you've had to have this many courses in science with labs or whatever. While you're there, look at the requirements that they're looking for from a homeschooler. That way you can be prepared and not have any surprises thrown your way, because maybe the school that they may be wanting to go to is one of the schools that said, hey, I want you to submit course descriptions with it. So then you know that this is something you need to keep up as you go. Looked at an example of some of our high school transcripts from local school, and then my husband recreated it here. So we have this for each child, and then we have it for early credits. I suggest to have this done before 8th grade because some places do allow you to do early high school credits, and if you're in one of those places, you want to make sure that you're documenting that and giving the credit that they're entitled to getting for that high school level course. Doing all the research, you can also find a lot of stuff that is linked through Oak Meadow. So here, for example, like we were talking about some college requirements, and this is like, again, the bare minimum. 3 years of math plus of math, and most, a lot of the colleges like to see 4, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the 4th one, if you have a non-mathy kid, has to be like calculus or anything like that. It could, there's just like some real life application type of math that actually Oak Meadow offers one of those, so that may be a route if they're going to a non-STEM field. 3 years of history and social studies are here, and 3 years of science with labs. So you want to add those labs. You want to make sure that at least 2 of your science courses have labs, but if you can justify more, that is even better. And then 2 years of language other than English. Now, I know that here in Florida, if you did not take foreign language, then you will have to take them in college. It will be required of you. So if they can get it done in high school, that's a lot better. But anyways, that's just right here, some of the resources. I do love how Oak Meadow offers a lot of information on their site to really help the parents track these things down. Now, this is after I've narrowed down certain things and I know which courses can be done in what grade, or even if she steps outside of that it will be okay, and that she can do those things. So let's go to that. All right, so this doesn't mean that this is the only thing that she'll ever use, that I won't add it, but remember that I already know that Oak Meadow is our core, right? So unless something drastically changes, Oak Meadow is our core. So on grade levels, they recommend certain things. So I already narrowed down that I have in my planner what I think she will want to do. So we're going to go over some of those things, and we're going to narrow those. My rough draft of basing it on how she has voiced which kind of courses she wants to take. I know, for example, that she really wants to take forensic science, but forensic science is a course that requires, it has a prerequisite. Really wants to make sure that she takes this class. I need to map out her science years, allowing for room for this, and also at the same time making sure she takes the required science courses, which is going to be like bio for sure, and chem and things like that. So we will look at that. So here I can read a little bit more, and I know you're looking at a screen. I'm not doing a screenshot because I want you to see everything I'm doing. So here I can see bio and chem is a prerequisite for forensic science. One of the things I did is I went down the list of some of the courses. Again, this doesn't mean that I'm limited to Oak Meadow, but I find that their tools are awesome. I know, and let's get a highlighter so you can really see what I'm talking about. We for sure have to do bio with lab. That is a prerequisite in every university I checked with in the state of Florida. We definitely have to do chemistry. That's a for sure, and that's going to be a chemistry with lab. And her request is that she takes a forensic science course that they offer. She really wants to do that. So what I'm feeling, and I already own this course, environmental science, because we had planned to do it for 8th, but then she wanted to do history of science with BYL, and then we built a whole science curriculum off of that. This is half a credit, so I want to add that other credit in here. So if I don't want to waste this environmental science, so I'm going to pitch this to her again, then we definitely have to do bio and chem. So if we take this into account, that's already 3 courses, and she really wants to take forensic science. I want to make sure bio gets taken care of by 10th grade. Then we have chem, so she really wants to do the forensic science. Now, forensic science is basically, from what I researched, don't quote me on this, will be considered the same type of or similar complexity as physics. So I think that will be okay, and we will discuss that as I talk to some college counselors and stuff like that, to narrowing this down before I talk to her, and then if she doesn't like it, then we'll go right back to the drawing map, right? So math is fairly simple. We're going to do algebra 1. We have to do geometry. This is the math connections I talked to you, like if your kid is non-STEM, you can look at that. So, but the requirements that we have, so I'm looking at this still, right? So we did the 3 of science, that's done. Preliminary done. And then I have to do 4 years of math, not have to, but we want to, because we want to stay with a course. So algebra 2 is definitely it. And then this is where, things may change. What I think that is going to be okay with her, so we have 1, 2, 3 courses, we need 1 more, is that I don't see her wanting to take calculus, advanced mathematics, or any of that. I can be wrong. So I'm going to plan for math connections for senior year. All right, so now we have the 4 that's recommended. Remember, there's the recommendations here, but I'm going by the state of Florida. All right, so now for social studies, I will look at my socials, and on here it says 3 credits of social studies. Remember, this may be the exact course that I use, or it may not. It's just giving me that outline. Then the 3 credits of social studies, and this is their recommendation. And again, I didn't read all these things to you, but for example, with the science, it says bio 1 should be one of them, and 2 or 3 courses that must have laboratory content. Like for mathematics, it's like one of which has to be algebra, and it also has to be geometry. So that is where I got this information, not like just from the top of my head. I just know that those are required, for a college prep track. Okay, and let me explain that. Let me remind you, it's not required for us in Florida to graduate our homeschool child, but this is for the requirements that a lot of the universities are looking for. So we're gonna pretend is required, right? So 3 social studies, this is what they have down: 1 credit in world history, 1 credit in US history, half a credit in US government, and half a credit in economics. So these are the things that they are looking for. United States government, by the people, for the people. That is 1 semester long. That is not the one we're looking at. We're looking at this one, which is United States history and conflict and compromise. The recommendations are 10th, 11th, and 12. And then again, we need to satisfy the U.S. history component, so that is there. Now we need to satisfy the world history component, and I have options for history, communities and connections, sustainable food system, critical media, psychology, race and ethics, but this is the one. We will like this world history, community and connections. World geography is one that I think would be cool. They have economics, which is 1 semester long. So here we're satisfying that economics. Now we need the U.S. government, which is 1 semester. So here's government satisfied. And we already did world history. So we have all our credits satisfied. Does not mean that that's the only thing that we will do, but that is what we have set out, and then we can swap those classes as need may arise. So like this geography course, I think because this is 1, 2, that's only because this is only, that's 1 year. This is only 3 courses here, and that's all we're required, saying 4. So now we can play around with the 4th one and see which one sounds more interesting to her. Some geography, I feel like we'll discuss this one, and maybe critical media literacy. I don't know. We'll see where she's leaning on, and this is something we can revisit again, because now we're talking about senior year, filling another social. I remember that this is, even though it says 3, that's the bare minimum, right? So we want to go above the bare minimum, or us, right? So now for English, I'm going to pitch the comp classes. And this, I'll just use this as a line because it's comp, that one is the enroll one, comp 1 and 2. I think that will give a year. And then we have the hero's journey. But this one is the one I'm super excited about. You see that? I don't know, sorry if there's any glare. Latin American literature and borders and identity. So I want to write that in. Actually, no, it's not here. So maybe they did update this. So it's half a credit. That means it's 1 semester. Now, credits is, and stuff may be different from where you are, so that's okay. So just keep that in mind. So that is like one that I'm definitely gonna pitch to her. So I want to look at that. We have 1 year. This is only that. So I think she will like following the span of history, just knowing her. So we may do hero's journey. There's a lot of rave reviews about it. So I'm also looking at what's, could work for 10th grade. So I think comp 1 and 2 needs to be, and adding a literary element with something else. Needs to be 9th grade, just to set a really strong foundation as she gets forward. So now I'm looking for a course that it would be good for 10th grade. And these are all junior and senior year. Okay, so this is Words, the Poet's Voice. This can be in any year. So it looks like the hero's journey will have to suffice for now. We'll see. So we have that. We have 2 credits, 2.5, and then we have Words, Poet's Voice. I'm not sure. Literature. I think this may be a hit. But then there's a lot. So I think this one, it will be something that I really need to just discuss. But we don't have to write exactly the course name. I can just write English 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then narrow it down from there. I don't need to be as specific, but this is just giving me a roadmap to look into these courses that I am going to go over. So either this one, we could do half a credit here, and then we need 1 more full year course, or semester long. So she can take 2 more of these. So pick 2 more, and then we will satisfy 4 years of that. Fine arts, we've already done a few. This is why we're seeking other things. So we have done drawing and design and integrated drawing, high school courses. So we have 2 left on here. So obviously we just need 1 credit. I'm not really to worry about that. Language, we're doing Spanish 1. So we will do 4 years. We're only required to do 2. We're doing 4 years. So we're gonna be doing, and their foreign language is only available for enrolled students. I wish that one day they'll change that. Spanish 2, Spanish 3, and we'll do Spanish 4 as well. And I already have stuff looked out. Now for health, this is always like a biggie. There's this, I did their elementary level, and then there's a hole in middle school. You don't find a lot of secular resources for that. So health and wellness, physical education, that's for enroll, and then integrated health and fitness. I think this one is this one is replacing that one. Don't quote me on that. So I'm looking at health and wellness, and it's a 4-year course, and I am thinking of maybe dividing that into something else. So we're doing that in some type of form. We'll figure that out when it comes, and then we can talk about electives. And as you can see, there is, and a lot of her electives are most likely going to be, you know what? And I can play a little bit with this, Comp 1 and Comp 2. That's two. That's 1 credit. Okay, that's 1 credit. Then U.S. history, just because we're just stepping out of another history, it is recommended for 10 and up, but it's fine. It's fine. It will be fine. And then algebra 1, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put, not algebra. Wow, I'm messing this up really good. Geo, then algebra 2, and then I'm thinking math connections. And I believe that's a full credit. Let's double check that. Math connections, where are you? Full year, yes. All right, so that is math there. I was just like, I'm a little all over the place. Now here, instead of writing this specific course, even though I'm keeping this as like the courses that we're thinking, I am just gonna write ELA 2, ELA 3, and ELA 4. I have this like highlighted, and I can put it in something pretty on the courses that I feel like are gonna satisfy that, but then it's plotted out. And I can fill in like towards the end of the year and stuff. Okay, is this next course we really want to do, and then go from there. But I can't, if you prefer, you can go ahead and write the course name that you like. But I'm trying to simplify this for you. You don't need to have specific names. Just, you know, we know this is the specific, this is the roadmap that we're gonna follow. And then we have world history, and because remember, we have to have world history. We have the credit for US history. Remember, we need 3 credits of that. And then we have econ, or actually it's like, I think government first, then econ. Government, then econ. Okay, so econ and government, that would be like on the same year. So that will be a full credit. And then she can pick one more. So we'll just do social and then pick wherever direction that. And then that will most likely be a full year credit. So that will give her 4 credits for socials, right? Then we have sciences. So I'm thinking what I'm gonna pitch is the one that I already have. We will see. So environmental, that's a full year. Then I know we're gonna need to do bio. Remember, I'm following my required courses. So bio with lab. This also has lab, but not in a traditional sense, but I am going to give it a lab credit. Bio with lab, and that's still 1 credit, even though it has a lab for us, okay? Then we need to do chem. We got to get it out of the way. Chem with lab. And again, if you're crafting a different experience for your child, that's great. This is just a college prep track. All right, and that's going to be 1 credit. Then the 4th one is she wants to do forensic. These 2 cannot change. I mean, they can move, like bio can go first and shift years. These 2 must be done. And I can highlight these things and get all fancy, but we don't want to be here all day. You guys, you get the idea. These 2 can change, these 2 cannot. So then we have, I'm thinking I'm going to split health and wellness, I have to see it in person. Health and wellness into 2 years, like 2 different semesters. So like, and then give half a credit here and half a credit there. I may change my mind on that, but I just think with like the, getting used to the first year and heavier loads and stuff like that, or I may not, I don't know. We'll see. So this is just like I said, it's a map. All right, so we satisfy that health and wellness part. Then we need our foreign language. So this is gonna be Spanish 2, Spanish 3, and then Spanish 4. Okay, and put Spanish 3 there. That's 1 credit. All right, this is messy. This is real life. All right, and that's that. Now we need to find arts, and I'm thinking maybe I'm just gonna write fine arts because I don't want to give it away yet. There's something we're testing out, so I'm just writing fine arts, and that's a whole year credit. Then we are doing some of the elements of Waldorf, so we're gonna have drama, and that's in another nutshell and something else. I'll talk about that in another thing. And that's going to be half a 7. So we see 1, 2, 3. All right, so if I keep this trend of 7 credits, I will meet above my requirements, right? But then that, like, front loading, if your child will be okay with it, and obviously I think this is a nice balance in here, with the lively arts and these other courses. I want to keep in mind bring me over the 24 credits, but then I can dwindle down. So like by junior year, she may have a job, like, and she actually have volunteers. And don't forget about volunteers hours, friends. And she's already doing that, right? So she's a teacher assistant at Hebrew school. So she's already doing that, and she's getting volunteer hours. So don't forget about that element. Obviously, this is just like courses outlined, not every single little detail. But if we kept on this track, we could either shorten down, and also you can give some credits for, in some places, for work experience and stuff like that. But this allows her for more breathing room junior and senior year when things like really get real and you're doing like SAT prep and all that jazz and all those things. All right, so you have all these are like the require, and then so for here we have an artist in my hands. There's going to be some kind of fine art elective or major course. So we are only required to do 1 fine art, performing arts, speech or debate, or practical art. So I'm just gonna, there's gonna be 1 every year. I know that for a fact of the required stuff, and then you can play with the rest, right? So as it stands right now with not adding anything else, is like 24.5 credits. So that's already enough for graduation. But again, this is bare minimum, and this is homeschool, so we're gonna play around with it, right? Now we get our laptop, and I describe some of the courses to my child. All right, so now I have my daughter beside me, and we're gonna go over everything that I narrowed down and go from there. So remember you said you wanted to work on your writing, right?
Yeah.
And get stronger. So what do you think of this course? This is composition 1 and then 2. So the first half is the writer. Second half is nonfiction. So it says it's designed to provide a strong foundation of writing skills for high school, college. It doesn't have the literature elements like the other ones that you've done from Meadow. So we will have to add literature to give you the literature credit. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, so comp 1 and 2. You have a few options. We have the hero's journey. Poetry. So, you know, like, what do you think about poetry? No, I didn't think so. Like junior year, Latin American literature. So about like people like us, right? We don't find that very often. And then women's fantasy and science fiction. What do you think about this is a new course. I want you to take this one because I think it's important for our, for our family and specifically for math. So math, there's required courses that you have to take no matter what. So there's like, it is what it is. Mr. Dennison comes up with another math course for senior year. So math connection is problem solving, like real life application of math, like how you actually use it.
Like math that I'm actually gonna use.
Yeah. Math that doesn't live on your phone. Bio and chem before you do forensic science. Okay, so which one would you like to do? Environmental science is the one that we have, which is like basically that's you. You're like the wildlife whisperer. So right now you have 3.5 credits, but we can fill that other hole maybe, but that's all your core classes, and then we can play around with the rest of like electives, because you get to pick 8 elective credits.
Hey.
Yeah, a lot of these things you're already satisfied, and you have like 3 early credits to make sure that we meet minimum requirements. So you don't have to have everything laid out and have every single thing figured out of what resource. So when we talk about mapping out your year, it's just an outline to make sure that you cover things that need to be covered, and you also place them in the correct year. Because if your child, for example, like she was interested in forensic science and really wants to take it, it's really recommended that you do bio and chem first. So you want to make sure that you make room to do those classes prior to that, and the correct order of things when it comes to prerequisites or requirements as a whole. So having all these laid out makes sure that you have a map that makes sense, and and it has a journey that will be great for both of you. I hope that this was helpful to you, that it wasn't too daunting, and that you can see that with a little bit of time and a little bit of focus it's all very possible. It's very doable, and you can really just enjoy the process, enjoy the ride, and you have the freedom to change your mind at any point, but at least you have a map. You have a map which you can deviate from, or you can follow through and shade some areas however you like. But then the process, this just becomes more streamlined as you move forward, because now you're just looking at what resource am I going to use for this course. Every single year, your child can be like, okay, yeah, that's still what I want to do for 10th grade. That's still what I want to do for 11th grade. Oh, let's tweak that. That's fine. But at least you have a map to go for. And then all this is tied together, and you've met those requirements that you need for graduation and entrance to university, if that's your goal. So everything just makes it all much easier with a little bit of planning. So thank you so much for sticking around with me and joining me for another Lesson Lab. I'll see you next time with Lesson Lab episode 3. So make sure you hit that notification bell and subscribe if you haven't done so. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your presence. Bye-bye.
I hear languages that I only